If you are tired of feeling stuck in the same patterns, this audiobook is for you. Every day, we face habits that hold us back without even realizing it. Some habits drain our energy, distract us from what matters, or keep us from reaching our goals. The truth is, breaking them doesn't have to be impossible. It starts with understanding your behavior, taking small but consistent actions, and learning how to guide your own choices. In this guide, you'll discover practical ways to take control of your life. You'll learn how to spot habits that harm you before they gain strength, how to replace negative routines with simple actions that improve your day, and how to track your progress in a way that actually works. You'll find out how to design your environment so it supports your goals, reward yourself for positive behavior, and stay consistent even when things get tough. This isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about creating real change that lasts. Every chapter gives you steps you can use immediately, advice that feels personal, and guidance that helps you build discipline, focus, and confidence. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have a clear plan to weaken destructive habits, strengthen your mind, and take steady control of your life. Stick with it, apply the ideas, and watch yourself grow stronger every single day. This is your chance to break free from what's holding you back and finally move forward with purpose. Chapter 1. Teen. Recognize destructive habits early and decide to change today. Bad habits do not begin as disasters. They begin as small permissions. A skipped alarm, a second helping when you are already full, a harmless scroll that turns into an hour, a short excuse that becomes a pattern, a promise to start tomorrow, a quiet agreement to ignore what you already know. This is how people lose control, not all at once, not in a dramatic moment. They lose it little by little while telling themselves that nothing serious is happening. That is why the first duty is not to fight a habit after it has become strong. The first duty is to recognize it early. A person who sees clearly has power. A person who keeps making excuses gives that power away. You do not need to wait until your life feels broken before you decide to change. You do not need to wait until your health is weak or your mind is exhausted or your relationships are strained beyond repair. The best time to change is when the habit is still small enough to name. This is where discipline begins. This is where wisdom begins. This is where freedom begins. Every bad habit tries to hide behind comfort. It tells you that you deserve relief. It tells you that you need just a little more rest. It tells you that one more delay will not matter. But habits are not interested in your excuses. They grow through repetition. They become stronger each time you fail to challenge them. That is why a serious person must learn to notice the earliest signs. The moment of awareness is sacred. It is the moment when you stop living on autopilot and start living by choice. Pay attention to what keeps showing up in your life. The same delay, the same reaction, the same weakness, the same private compromise. Bad habits often reveal themselves in patterns before they become obvious problems. You keep reaching for your phone when you feel uncomfortable. You keep avoiding hard tasks when they require focus. You keep saying yes when you should say no. You keep returning to behavior that gives short relief and long regret. These are not random moments. They are signals. They are telling you where your discipline is leaking. A wise person does not insult the signal. A wise person studies it. Start by asking honest questions. When do you lose control? What emotion comes right before the habit? What situation makes you weak? What time of day is the danger strongest? What excuse do you repeat most often? Your answers matter because habits are tied to conditions. If you only attack the action and never study the trigger, you will keep losing to the same pattern. You need clarity, not just willpower. Willpower without awareness is too slow. Awareness gives you a better starting point. Some people think change begins with a dramatic decision. In truth, it often begins with a quiet admission. You say to yourself that something is wrong and that you are no longer willing to pretend otherwise. That private honesty is powerful. It clears the fog. It ends the internal debate. It tells your mind that denial is no longer welcome. There is strength in naming the habit exactly as it is, not as a weakness you hope will disappear, not as a phase, not as a personality trait. Name it plainly: procrastination, overeating, anger, constant distraction, gossip, laziness, overspending, pornography, drinking too much, sleeping too late, avoiding responsibility, seeking approval. Whatever it is, do not soften it in a way that protects it. A habit loses some of its power when it is brought into the light. Many people stay trapped because they try to preserve their self-image while refusing to face their behavior. They want to be seen as disciplined while living carelessly. They want the reward of change without the discomfort of truth. That does not work. Growth begins when you stop defending what is hurting you. You do not heal by protecting the habit. You heal by confronting it. Look at the cost. Every bad habit takes more than it gives. It may give a few minutes of relief or pleasure or escape. But it takes energy, it takes time, it takes self-respect, it takes momentum, it takes confidence. It takes your attention away from what matters. The habit may not destroy your life in one day, but it will shape your future if you keep feeding it. Be honest about the price. Count what it has already stolen from you. Count the hours lost. Count the promises broken. Count the peace interrupted. Count the opportunities delayed. This is not to shame yourself. It is to wake yourself up. Awareness grows stronger when it is specific. Do not say only that you have a bad habit. Say what it looks like. Describe the exact behavior. Describe the first step that starts the chain. For one person, it may be opening social media while trying to work. For another, it may be reaching for junk food after stress. For another, it may be checking messages the moment they feel bored. For another, it may be speaking sharply when challenged. The earlier you can identify the first move, the easier it becomes to interrupt the whole pattern. A bad habit usually begins before the action begins. It begins in the mind. A mood shifts, a desire rises, a discomfort appears. Then the mind starts offering reasons. This is why you must train yourself to notice the moment before the choice. That moment is where freedom lies. If you learn to see the thought before it becomes behavior, you gain a chance to respond instead of react. One useful practice is to pause and ask a simple question every time the urge appears. What am I feeling right now? Bored, tired, angry, lonely, stressed, restless, anxious, embarrassed? The answer matters because many habits are not really about the habit. They are about avoiding a feeling. Once you see the feeling clearly, you can face it directly instead of hiding inside a repeated action. Another powerful question is this: what do I really need right now? Sometimes the answer is not the thing your habit is offering. You may need water, rest, movement, silence, focus, a short walk, an honest conversation, structure, sleep, a proper meal, a deep breath, better planning. Often the habit is pretending to solve a problem that it is actually making worse. A disciplined life is built on this kind of honesty. It is not built by pretending you are stronger than you are. It is built by understanding your weak points and responding with calm accuracy. Stoic thinking teaches self-mastery through reason, not through drama, not through self-pity, not through loud promises. A calm mind is better than a loud intention. You do not need to hate yourself to change. You need to see clearly and act firmly. Once you have identified the habit, do not waste time arguing with yourself about whether it is really that serious. That is how change gets delayed. If the habit is weakening your health or your focus or your character, then it is serious enough. A small poison is still poison. A small leak can flood a room if ignored long enough. Respect the early warning. Decide today, not later, not after the weekend, not after you finish another cycle of indulgence. Today. The word today matters because it removes fantasy. Fantasy says there will be a perfect time when motivation is high and the path is easy. Real change begins in ordinary time, in a normal day, in a normal mood, in an imperfect state. You do not wait to feel ready. You decide to become responsible. Decision is a strong word because it ends confusion. Many people stay stuck because they keep their commitment vague. They hope to improve. They wish to improve. They think about improving, but hope is weak when it is not supported by action. A decision has weight. A decision creates direction. A decision says this will no longer be ignored. Make the decision personal, not because someone pressured you, not because you want to impress others, not because you fear being judged. Decide because you want your life back. Decide because you respect your future. Decide because you are tired of the same cycle. Decide because your character deserves better. When the reason is deep, the commitment becomes stronger. Now pair the decision with a small immediate action. Do not wait for a perfect plan. Take one step that proves your decision is real. Remove the app that steals your time. Throw away the food that triggers you. Delete the contact that pulls you into chaos. Put your device in another room. Write the habit on paper. Tell one trusted person. Set an alarm. Prepare your workspace. Clear your desk. Fill your water bottle. Go to bed early. Start with one act that makes the choice visible. Small actions matter because they interrupt the old identity. Every habit is connected to a story you keep telling yourself. The story says, "This is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I cope." To change the habit, you must challenge the story. Not with empty affirmations, but with behavior. When you act differently, you begin to see yourself differently. Repeated action changes identity more reliably than emotion does. Do not underestimate the power of one clean day. One day of discipline creates a memory. It proves that change is possible. It gives you evidence. Evidence is important because bad habits often survive on the belief that you cannot change. The first victory weakens that lie. The second victory weakens it more. Soon the mind starts accepting a new possibility. That is how confidence grows, not from praise, from proof. It helps to expect discomfort. Change feels uncomfortable because the habit has been giving you something. Even if that something is harmful, it still feels familiar. Your mind may protest when you remove it. You may feel irritated, empty, restless, uncertain. That does not mean you are failing. It means the old pattern is losing its grip. Do not confuse discomfort with danger. Not every hard feeling is a sign to stop. Some hard feelings are a sign that growth is happening. When the urge rises, do not rush to satisfy it. Pause, breathe, observe. Let the urge be present without obeying it immediately. This is a form of strength many people never practice. They think freedom means doing whatever they feel like doing. Real freedom means not being controlled by every feeling. A strong person can feel a desire without becoming its servant. That is self-rule. If you can delay the habit for even a few minutes, you are already building control. Use that delay wisely. Stand up, change rooms, drink water, stretch, write down what is happening. Speak to yourself with firmness. Remind yourself that a feeling is temporary and a choice can last. The urge may return, but so can your decision. You are not required to obey every impulse. It also helps to see the bigger picture. Bad habits do not only affect the moment they appear. They shape your future. They influence how you think about yourself. They affect the people near you. They decide what kind of energy you bring into your work and your home. A person with discipline becomes trustworthy to themselves and to others. A person ruled by habit slowly loses that trust. This is why self-improvement is not selfish. It is responsible. Your life affects more than your own comfort. There is dignity in facing what is hard. There is dignity in saying enough. There is dignity in refusing to remain the same when change is needed. Do not wait for a perfect emotional state. Courage is not the absence of tension. Courage is action in the presence of tension. Discipline is choosing what is right even when the old habit still calls your name. Build a simple habit of review each day. Ask yourself, what happened today? Where did I stay aware? Where did I slip? What triggered me? What helped me resist? What will I do differently tomorrow? This review does not need to be long. It needs to be honest. A few honest minutes at the end of the day can save months of confusion. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, the same mistakes repeat in a different form. Be careful with self-talk. Do not speak to yourself as if you are doomed. That is not humility. It is surrender. You are not your worst moment. You are not your weakest pattern. You are a person capable of learning. Say it plainly. I saw the habit. I named it. I am changing it. I will not excuse it. I will not glamorize it. I will not feed it. This is the language of responsibility. At the same time, do not become proud in a way that makes you careless. A few good days do not mean the battle is over. Many people stop paying attention right after they gain a little progress, and then the old behavior returns. Stay alert. Habits are patient. If you relax your guard too soon, the pattern can return quietly. Keep your standards clear. Keep your eyes open. Stay humble enough to continue watching yourself. When you fall, do not let the fall become a story of defeat. A slip is information. It tells you where the weak point still is. Learn from it quickly. Return to your decision. Correct the course without delay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is direction. A person moving forward with mistakes is still better than a person standing still in denial. What matters is that you keep coming back to the right path. Your life changes through repeated choices. Nothing more, nothing less. That is why the earliest stage matters so much. A habit that is caught early is easier to redirect. A habit that is ignored gains authority. Today you can still shape the next chapter. Today you can still interrupt the pattern. Today you can still choose character over impulse. Today you can still decide that your future will not be controlled by an old weakness. Think about the person you want to become, not in a vague way, in a practical way. How does that person speak? How does that person work? How does that person respond under pressure? How does that person treat time? How does that person handle temptation? Let that image guide your actions. You do not become that person in one dramatic leap. You become that person through repeated acts of honesty and restraint. This is how a better life begins. Not by waiting for the habit to disappear on its own. Not by hoping the craving will vanish without effort. Not by promising change while keeping the same routine. It begins when you recognize the damage early. It begins when you stop protecting what weakens you. It begins when you decide that your life is too valuable to hand over to old patterns. It begins when you take control of the next decision. There is power in this moment. Right now you can examine your habits without fear. Right now you can choose clarity over comfort. Right now you can stop pretending that harmful behavior is harmless. Right now you can decide that enough is enough. That decision will not erase every struggle, but it will change the direction of your life. Stand firm. Watch yourself carefully. Tell the truth quickly. Act simply. Repeat the right choice. This is how freedom is built. This is how respect for yourself returns. This is how a strong life is formed, one clear decision at a time. The habit does not need to break you. It can be named. It can be challenged. It can be replaced. And the first victory begins the moment you stop denying it and decide to change today. Chapter 20. Replace negative routines with simple actions that improve daily. The real struggle is not always with stopping a bad habit. Often the harder task is filling the empty space it leaves behind. A person can remove a harmful routine and still fail if nothing good takes its place. The mind dislikes emptiness. The hands reach for what is familiar. The body follows old cues. This is why change must be active, not passive. You do not simply abandon the old pattern and hope for the best. You replace it with something simple enough to repeat and strong enough to matter. A better life is built through ordinary actions repeated with care. Not grand promises, not dramatic reinvention. Small useful acts, done consistently, create a new direction. When a negative routine appears, the answer should not be confusion. The answer should be a prepared action that improves the day. This is where discipline becomes practical. This is where a person starts to train the mind to choose better without delay. Think about the habits that quietly waste your day. Reaching for your phone before your mind is awake. Staying in bed after the alarm. Snacking without noticing hunger. Avoiding the first difficult task. Speaking carelessly when irritated. These patterns do not only consume time, they weaken focus. They drain self-respect. They train the mind to seek relief instead of growth. A life becomes unstable when comfort is the first answer to every pressure. The good news is that you do not need a perfect system to begin improving. You need simple replacements that are easy to remember and hard to ignore. When you feel the pull of an old habit, do one better thing. Read 2 pages. Drink a glass of water, stand up and stretch. Clean one area. Write 1 sentence. Take 1 deep breath and return to the task. These may seem small, but small actions repeated with intention change the shape of a day. A simple action works best when it is clear. The mind resists complicated plans when it is tired or stressed. You do not need 20 rules. You need one practical move that can be done without debate. If scrolling is your weakness, then place a book nearby and open it before your phone. If laziness starts your morning, then make your bed immediately after waking. If stress sends you toward unhealthy food, then prepare a healthy option in advance. If anger rises too quickly, then step away and count to 10 before you speak. Simplicity protects consistency. A person changes faster when the replacement feels natural. Do not choose a new action that is so difficult you avoid it. The point is not to impress yourself. The point is to build trust with yourself. Trust grows when your actions are repeatable. If you promise to do something too large and fail often, then your mind begins to doubt your own words. But when you keep a small promise each day, confidence returns quietly. Every negative routine has a pattern. It begins with a cue. Then comes the response. Then the feeling after it. If you want to break the chain, change the response. The cue may still appear, the emotion may still rise, but your action does not have to stay the same. This is where freedom begins to grow. The urge may visit, but it does not get to lead. A wiser action can meet the moment and weaken the old cycle. Consider boredom. Many harmful habits begin there. A bored mind reaches for stimulation without asking whether it helps. Instead of surrendering to that empty feeling, use a useful replacement. Tidy your desk. Take a short walk. Write down what matters most for the rest of the day. Review your goals. Boredom can become a signal for purpose if you train it well. The mind that learns to respond well to boredom becomes stronger over time. Consider stress. Stress often pushes people toward habits that numb instead of heal. The aim is not to eliminate stress from life. That is impossible. The aim is to respond to stress in a way that leaves you stronger instead of weaker. When pressure rises, choose a simple stabilizing action. Breathe slowly. Wash your face with cold water. Sit upright. Put your thoughts on paper. Speak with calm honesty. Stress cannot be controlled completely, but your response can be trained. Consider loneliness. Many people use destructive routines to avoid feeling alone. They fill silence with distraction. They fill emptiness with noise. They fill pain with temporary comfort. A better replacement is to build connection and structure. Call someone you trust. Spend time in a place where good habits are easier. Join a group that supports growth. Read words that lift your mind rather than dull it. Loneliness is easier to bear when your day has shape and your heart has direction. The best replacement actions often serve more than one purpose. A short walk can interrupt a craving, clear the mind, and restore energy. A clean room can reduce stress, improve focus, and create momentum. A brief journal entry can expose patterns, calm emotions, and sharpen decisions. That is why simple actions are so powerful. They are not just distractions from bad behavior. They are building blocks of a better life. You must also learn to choose replacements that fit the time of day. Morning is different from evening. High energy is different from fatigue. The mind at noon is not the mind at midnight. Build actions that respect the rhythm of your day. In the morning, choose something that creates order. In the afternoon, choose something that restores focus. At night, choose something that prepares you for rest. When the replacement fits the moment, it becomes easier to repeat. A useful habit replacement should also be visible. Put it where you can see it. If you want to read more, then place the book on your pillow or desk. If you want to drink more water, then keep it near you. If you want to stretch, then leave a mat open. If you want to write, then keep a notebook ready. Good behavior should not depend on memory alone. Good systems reduce friction and make the right choice easier. It is also wise to prepare for weak moments before they arrive. When the mind is calm, decide what you will do when the urge appears. Do not wait until you are tired and vulnerable to make the decision. A prepared person is harder to shake. Write down your replacement actions and keep them simple enough to remember under pressure. When the moment comes, you will not need to think as much. You will only need to follow what you already chose. The goal is not to build a life full of complicated rules. The goal is to become the kind of person who naturally moves toward what helps. This comes from repetition. Every time you choose the better action, you make it slightly more familiar. Every time you repeat it, you lower resistance. What once felt forced begins to feel normal. That is how character develops, not through intensity alone but through steady practice. There will be days when the old routine still calls to you. On those days, do not insult yourself. Return to the simple action again. A good replacement is not defeated because the urge appeared. It succeeds when it is used. You may need to choose the better step many times before it feels automatic. That is part of the process. Patience is not weakness. Patience is discipline under pressure. Do not wait for motivation to appear before you act. Motivation often follows action. A person begins with a small useful step and then finds energy inside movement. Clean one corner and you may feel like cleaning more. Write one paragraph and the next becomes easier. Walk 5 minutes and your body may ask for 10. Starting is often the hardest part. Once you move, the mind starts to cooperate. The replacement habit should also give you a better feeling after it is done. Not excitement, not a rush, something quieter and deeper, relief without regret, clarity without shame, control without exhaustion. This is what makes good routines worth keeping. They may not always feel dramatic, but they leave you stronger at the end of the day. A wise life is built on actions that do not need applause. No one may notice that you chose water over a harmful craving. No one may see that you stood up and worked for 10 more minutes. No one may know that you paused before speaking in anger. Yet those quiet choices shape your future more than most people realize. Private discipline becomes public strength later. The important thing is to keep replacing the same old pattern with a better one until the better one becomes normal. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. If the old routine is still trying to pull you back, keep answering with simple acts that improve the day. Do it once, then again, then again. The new path becomes stronger by use. Your life will not change because you made one inspiring decision. It will change because you keep choosing useful actions in ordinary moments. That is where the battle is won. Not in theory, not in wishful thinking. In the repeated choice to do something better right when the old routine reaches for control. Carry that idea into today. When the negative pattern appears, answer it with something simple that helps. When you feel weak, do the next right thing. When the old routine calls, replace it with a small act of order, care, or strength. Keep your response practical. Keep it immediate. Keep it repeatable. The more often you do this, the less power the old habit will have. And over time, the new actions will not feel like separate efforts anymore. They will become part of who you are. Chapter 30. Build awareness by tracking behaviors and reviewing progress nightly. Most people believe they understand their habits, yet their days tell a different story. Time slips away without notice. Energy fades without explanation. Intentions are made in the morning and forgotten by afternoon. The problem is not always a lack of motivation. Often the real issue is a lack of awareness. When you do not track your behavior, your mind fills the gaps with assumptions. You believe you worked harder than you did. You believe you stayed focused longer than you actually did. You believe you resisted temptation more than you truly did. Without awareness, growth becomes guesswork. Awareness changes everything. When you observe your actions with honesty, patterns begin to appear. You start noticing where your time goes. You see how emotions influence decisions. You understand what helps you stay disciplined and what weakens your focus. This clarity creates power. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. Tracking behavior is not about judging yourself. It is about understanding yourself. The day moves quickly. Distractions appear without warning. Small decisions accumulate. By evening, it becomes difficult to remember exactly how everything unfolded. This is why tracking your behavior during the day creates a reliable record. It does not need to be complicated. A few simple notes can reveal valuable insights. Write down when you stayed focused. Write down when you lost discipline. Write down what triggered your distractions. These small observations become a map of your behavior. Start with honesty. Do not try to impress yourself. Do not soften mistakes. Do not exaggerate success. The purpose is clarity. When you tell yourself the truth, you create a strong foundation for improvement. If you notice that you spent too much time on distractions, Write it down plainly. If you avoided an important task, acknowledge it. If you made progress, record it with quiet pride. The goal is accuracy, not perfection. Tracking behavior teaches responsibility. When you see your actions written down, excuses lose their power. It becomes harder to blame circumstances. It becomes harder to pretend that tomorrow will fix everything. The written record shows you what actually happened. This removes confusion and strengthens discipline. A person who tracks behavior becomes more intentional with time. You do not need to track everything. Focus on what matters most. Track habits that influence your growth. Track moments where you struggled. Track actions that improved your day. These details help you identify what deserves attention. A simple list works well. You can track focus hours. You can track exercise. You can track moments of distraction. You can track emotional reactions. Keep it simple enough to maintain every day. The power of tracking grows when combined with nightly review. At the end of the day, pause and reflect. Look at your notes. Ask yourself what went well. Ask yourself where you struggled. Ask yourself what you learned. This quiet reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without review, lessons disappear. With review, progress becomes deliberate. Nightly review also creates closure. Many people carry unfinished thoughts into sleep. Their minds replay mistakes without resolution. A calm review allows you to process the day with clarity. You see what needs improvement. You acknowledge effort. You prepare for tomorrow. This practice reduces mental noise and strengthens focus. A useful nightly review includes simple questions. What did I do well today? Where did I lose focus? What triggered negative behavior? What helped me stay disciplined? What will I improve tomorrow? These questions guide reflection without overwhelming you. The answers do not need to be long. A few honest sentences are enough. The tone of your review matters. Avoid harsh judgment. Harshness creates resistance. Instead, approach the review with calm discipline. Treat it as a learning process. You are not punishing yourself. You are training yourself. A calm mind sees more clearly. A calm mind makes better adjustments. Awareness also helps you notice emotional patterns. Some habits are tied to feelings rather than situations. You may notice that stress leads to distraction. You may notice that boredom leads to unhealthy choices. You may notice that fatigue lowers discipline. These observations allow you to prepare for vulnerable moments. You begin to anticipate challenges before they happen. Tracking behavior also reveals hidden progress. Many people feel stuck even when they are improving. Small victories are often forgotten. When you write them down, you create proof. You see that you resisted temptation. You see that you worked longer. You see that you stayed calm in difficult moments. This evidence strengthens confidence. Confidence built on facts is more stable than confidence built on emotion. The act of writing also slows the mind. It forces you to think carefully. When you write down a behavior, you examine it. This reflection deepens understanding. A rushed mind reacts without learning. A reflective mind grows stronger. Nightly review encourages preparation. After examining your day, you can adjust your approach. If you notice that mornings were unproductive, plan a stronger start. If you notice that evenings led to distractions, create a structured routine. If you notice that certain environments weakened discipline, make changes. Each review becomes an opportunity to refine your strategy. Consistency matters more than complexity. A simple review every night builds momentum. Skipping review weakens awareness. The habit of reflection strengthens over time. Soon you begin noticing patterns faster. You catch mistakes earlier. You adjust quickly. This steady improvement builds resilience. Awareness also improves decision-making. When you understand your behavior, you make wiser choices. You avoid situations that weaken discipline. You create conditions that support growth. You become intentional with time. This shift changes how you approach each day. Tracking behavior also strengthens accountability. You become accountable to yourself. No one else needs to see your notes. The purpose is personal growth. When you hold yourself accountable, discipline becomes internal. External pressure is no longer necessary. Some people resist tracking because they fear facing their habits. They worry about seeing mistakes clearly, yet avoiding awareness keeps them stuck. Facing reality creates freedom. When you accept your current state, you gain the power to improve it. Growth begins with clarity. The nightly review should also include gratitude for effort. Recognize when you tried. Recognize when you stayed disciplined. This encourages consistency. A balanced review acknowledges both strengths and weaknesses. This approach builds confidence while promoting improvement. Over time, tracking behavior becomes natural. You begin noticing patterns during the day. You adjust quickly. Awareness becomes part of your thinking. This shift transforms how you approach challenges. You no longer react blindly. You respond with intention. The quiet moments before sleep become valuable. Instead of drifting into rest without reflection, you end the day with purpose. You analyze your actions. You learn from mistakes. You prepare for growth. This calm discipline shapes your mindset. Your days begin to improve gradually. Small adjustments create better routines. Better routines create stronger discipline. Stronger discipline builds confidence. Confidence encourages consistency. This cycle leads to meaningful change. Awareness also strengthens resilience. When you track behavior, setbacks become lessons instead of failures. You analyze what happened. You adjust your approach. You continue forward. This mindset reduces frustration and builds persistence. Each day becomes an opportunity to learn. Each night becomes a moment of reflection. This rhythm supports continuous improvement. Growth becomes steady instead of random. You move forward with intention. Your life reflects your daily actions. Tracking behavior helps you align actions with goals. Nightly review keeps you focused. These simple practices create clarity. Clarity creates discipline. Discipline creates freedom. Progress does not require perfection. It requires awareness. When you observe your behavior and review your day, you take control of your growth. Small improvements accumulate. Consistency builds strength. Over time, your habits change naturally. Carry this practice into your routine. Track your behavior honestly. Review your progress nightly. Learn from each day. Adjust with calm discipline. This simple habit builds awareness. Awareness guides action. Action shapes your future. The more you observe yourself, the stronger your control becomes. The more you review your day, the clearer your direction becomes. These quiet practices transform ordinary days into stepping stones for growth. Over time, awareness becomes your greatest ally in breaking bad habits and building a disciplined life. Chapter 14. Create clear environment that removes triggers and supports discipline. Discipline does not depend only on willpower. It depends on the environment you live in every day. Many people try to change their habits while keeping the same surroundings that encourage those habits in the first place. They expect different results while walking through the same triggers, the same distractions, and the same temptations. This creates unnecessary struggle. A person who wants to break bad habits must shape the environment so that discipline becomes easier and harmful choices become harder. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than you realize. The layout of your room affects how you spend your time. The placement of your phone affects your focus. The people around you affect your standards. The noise in your space affects your thinking. When the environment is cluttered, the mind feels scattered. When the environment is filled with distractions, attention becomes weak. When the environment supports discipline, effort becomes smoother. Look at your space honestly. Observe what pulls your attention away from what matters. Notice what encourages laziness. Notice what invites unhealthy behavior. These small details quietly shape your day. A phone within reach can lead to hours of distraction. Unhealthy food on your desk can lead to mindless eating. A messy workspace can make it harder to begin important tasks. These triggers may seem harmless, yet they influence your decisions again and again. Creating a clear environment begins with removing what weakens you. This is not about perfection. It is about intention. Remove items that distract you during work hours. Move your phone away from your immediate reach. Turn off notifications that interrupt your thinking. Keep only what supports your goals within sight. These small changes reduce friction and help you focus without constant resistance. Clutter drains mental energy. When your space is crowded with unnecessary items, your mind must process more information. This makes concentration harder. A clear space allows your mind to settle. It creates a sense of calm. You do not need to redesign your entire home. Start with one area, clear your desk, organize your essentials, remove objects that do not serve a purpose. This simple act creates momentum. Your environment should guide your actions naturally. When healthy choices are easier to access, you are more likely to follow them. Place a book where you usually waste time. Keep a water bottle nearby to encourage hydration. Prepare your workspace before starting the day. Lay out items needed for productive tasks. These adjustments reduce hesitation and encourage better habits. Lighting also affects discipline. A dim room encourages passivity. A well-lit space supports alertness. Natural light improves mood and energy. If possible, open your windows. Let fresh air enter. These small environmental factors influence your mindset. A bright space promotes clarity. A calm environment supports thoughtful decisions. Sound matters as well. Loud distractions reduce focus. Constant noise makes it difficult to think deeply. Choose sounds that support concentration. Silence can be powerful. Soft background noise can help some people stay focused. The key is to notice what works for you. Your environment should help you maintain attention. Your digital environment deserves equal attention. Many bad habits live inside screens. Endless scrolling, unnecessary notifications, and cluttered apps weaken discipline. Organize your digital space just as you organize your physical space. Remove apps that waste your time. Turn off unnecessary alerts. Arrange your device so that useful tools are easy to access. This reduces temptation and supports productive behavior. Your environment also includes your routine spaces. Where you work matters, where you rest matters, where you relax matters. Try to separate these areas when possible. A dedicated workspace signals focus. A comfortable resting area signals relaxation. When these spaces overlap, your mind receives mixed signals. Clear boundaries support discipline. People also shape your environment. The individuals around you influence your habits. Spend time with people who respect discipline. Observe how they manage time. Notice how they respond to challenges. Their behavior encourages growth. Distance yourself from environments that normalize harmful routines. This is not about judging others. It is about protecting your direction. Even small environmental cues can influence your behavior. A clean table invites work. A prepared notebook invites reflection. A visible goal invites effort. These cues quietly guide your decisions. Your surroundings can either pull you toward progress or push you toward distraction. Choose carefully what surrounds you. Morning preparation strengthens your environment. Before the day begins, create conditions that support discipline. Arrange your workspace. Set your priorities. Remove distractions. This preparation reduces resistance when you begin your tasks. A prepared environment encourages a strong start. Evening preparation also matters. Before sleeping, tidy your space. Reset your environment. Prepare items for the next day. This small routine saves time and energy in the morning. You wake up to clarity instead of confusion. A calm start strengthens discipline. Your environment should also support rest. Discipline requires energy. A cluttered sleeping area affects sleep quality. Remove distractions from your bedroom. Keep the space calm and simple. Avoid bright screens before sleep. A restful environment improves recovery and focus. Environmental design is not about control. It is about support. You are not eliminating freedom. You are creating conditions that help you succeed. When your environment aligns with your goals, discipline becomes less exhausting. You spend less energy resisting temptation. You spend more energy building progress. Some people rely entirely on motivation. They wait to feel inspired before acting. Motivation fades quickly. Environment remains constant. When your environment supports discipline, you act even when motivation is low. This consistency leads to long-term change. Your environment also affects your emotions. A calm space reduces stress. A clean area creates clarity. An organized environment supports confidence. These emotional benefits strengthen discipline naturally. You feel more capable when your surroundings are supportive. Start with small changes. You do not need to transform everything at once. Choose one trigger to remove. Choose one supportive element to add. Notice how it affects your behavior. Gradually refine your environment. Each improvement builds momentum. Your environment reflects your priorities. When you arrange your space intentionally, you signal commitment to growth. This commitment strengthens your mindset. You begin to see discipline as part of your identity. Your surroundings reinforce your values. There will be moments when distractions still appear. No environment is perfect. The goal is not to eliminate all challenges. The goal is to reduce unnecessary struggle. When your environment supports discipline, you face fewer obstacles. This increases your chances of success. Your surroundings should make the right choice easier. When good behavior requires less effort, consistency improves. When harmful behavior becomes inconvenient, it loses power. These small adjustments create lasting change. Take responsibility for your environment. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Create them gradually. Move items that distract you. Add elements that support growth. Simplify your space. Strengthen your surroundings. Over time, your environment becomes a silent partner in your growth. It supports your discipline. It reduces temptation. It encourages focus. This quiet support strengthens your daily actions. Your life improves when your surroundings align with your goals. A clear environment reduces confusion. A supportive space encourages progress. A disciplined environment strengthens character. Choose clarity. Remove triggers. Add support. Arrange your space with intention. Let your environment guide your behavior. Let your surroundings strengthen your discipline. These simple changes create a powerful foundation for breaking bad habits and building a life guided by purpose and control. Chapter 5. Practice small, consistent wins to weaken harmful patterns gradually. Change rarely happens through sudden transformation. Most meaningful growth happens quietly through small, consistent wins. These wins may look insignificant at first, yet they slowly reshape behavior and weaken harmful patterns. Many people wait for a moment of intense motivation before they begin. They imagine dramatic shifts and instant discipline. This expectation creates frustration. When change feels too large, the mind resists. A wiser approach focuses on steady progress. Small victories build strength without overwhelming the mind. A harmful pattern grows through repetition. It becomes familiar. It feels automatic. The more often it occurs, the stronger it becomes. To weaken this pattern, you must introduce consistent alternatives. One small win interrupts the cycle. Another small win builds confidence. Over time, these moments accumulate. The old behavior loses its hold. The new direction becomes natural. Small wins work because they reduce resistance. A person may avoid a large task, but accept a small step. A person may struggle to change everything at once, but succeed in changing one detail. This approach respects human nature. Discipline becomes easier when the first step feels manageable. Once you begin, momentum often follows. Consider how a small action can shift your day. Waking up and making your bed creates order. Drinking water instead of reaching for unhealthy habits improves energy. Starting work for 5 minutes breaks procrastination. Writing a few lines builds creative momentum. These actions may seem simple, yet they signal intention. They tell your mind that growth matters. Consistency matters more than intensity. A strong effort followed by long gaps does not create lasting change. Small actions repeated daily build reliability. Reliability strengthens discipline. When you show up consistently, you begin to trust yourself. This trust becomes a powerful force. You no longer depend on mood, you depend on your routine. Small wins also reduce fear. Many harmful habits survive because change feels intimidating. When you break change into small steps, fear loses strength. The mind becomes more willing to try. Each success builds courage. Over time, the task that once felt difficult becomes familiar. A small win can be as simple as choosing patience instead of reacting in anger. It can be stopping yourself from checking your phone during focused work. It can be finishing one task before starting another. These moments build self-control. Self-control strengthens with practice. Like any skill, it improves through repetition. Progress becomes visible when you track these wins. You begin to notice how often you choose discipline. You see how small actions add up. This creates motivation rooted in evidence. Confidence grows when you see consistent improvement. The key is to keep the wins realistic. Avoid setting expectations that are too demanding. If the goal feels too large, break it into smaller parts. If you want to exercise regularly, begin with short sessions. If you want to read more, start with a few pages. If you want to reduce distractions, begin with short periods of focus. These manageable steps create momentum. Momentum changes behavior. When you experience success, your mind becomes more willing to continue. This positive cycle weakens harmful patterns. The old habit loses attention. The new behavior gains strength. Over time, the shift becomes noticeable. Patience is essential in this process. Harmful patterns formed over time will not disappear instantly. Expect gradual change. Each small win is a step forward. Some days will feel easier. Some days will feel challenging. Consistency matters more than speed. Progress measured over weeks and months creates lasting transformation. Small wins also help during difficult moments. When motivation fades, you can still complete a small task. This keeps you moving forward. It prevents discouragement. A small action maintains momentum even when energy is low. Celebrate these wins quietly. Recognition strengthens commitment. You do not need external praise. Acknowledge your effort internally. This reinforces positive behavior. You begin to associate discipline with satisfaction. Another benefit of small wins is clarity. As you repeat positive actions, you learn what works best. You discover which routines improve your focus. You understand which habits support your well-being. This knowledge helps refine your approach. Harmful patterns often depend on automatic behavior. Small wins disrupt automation. When you consciously choose a better action, you create awareness. This awareness reduces impulsive decisions. Over time, thoughtful behavior replaces automatic reactions. Your mindset shifts as well. Instead of viewing change as overwhelming, you see it as manageable. You focus on what you can do today. This perspective reduces pressure. Growth becomes part of daily life rather than a distant goal. Small, consistent wins also build resilience. When you practice discipline daily, you become stronger during challenges. You rely on your habits instead of mood. This stability supports long-term growth. Each day presents opportunities for small wins. Choose patience in conversation. Complete tasks before distractions. Maintain order in your environment. Keep promises to yourself. These actions build character gradually. Avoid comparing your progress to others. Small wins are personal. Your journey depends on your habits and goals. Focus on your improvement. Consistency matters more than comparison. Over time, these small victories change your identity. You begin to see yourself as disciplined. You begin to trust your actions. This shift strengthens commitment. Your behavior aligns with your goals naturally. Even when setbacks occur, small wins help you recover. A setback does not erase progress. Return to simple actions. Rebuild momentum. Continue forward with patience. Your life is shaped by repeated choices. Small, consistent wins shape those choices. They weaken harmful patterns. They strengthen discipline. They build confidence. They create lasting change. Focus on what you can do today. Choose one small action that improves your direction. Repeat it tomorrow. Continue the process. Over time, these simple efforts transform your habits. Small wins may appear modest, yet their impact is powerful. They reduce resistance. They build momentum. They strengthen discipline. They create progress that lasts. Your future depends on daily actions. Practice small, consistent wins. Allow them to guide your growth. Let them weaken harmful patterns gradually. Continue forward with patience and determination. Over time, these quiet victories reshape your life and strengthen your path toward discipline and self-mastery. Chapter 60. Commit to accountability by sharing goals with supportive people. Change becomes stronger when it is no longer carried alone. Many people try to break bad habits in silence. They keep their goals private. They rely only on personal discipline. While independence is valuable, isolation often makes growth harder. When no one knows your goals, it becomes easier to delay them. When no one checks your progress, excuses feel more comfortable. Accountability changes this dynamic. It introduces responsibility beyond your own thoughts. It encourages consistency when motivation fades. Accountability does not mean losing control over your life. It means inviting support from people who care about your progress. These individuals do not need to be perfect. They need to be honest, respectful, and committed to growth. A supportive person reminds you of your intentions. They encourage you when progress feels slow. They provide perspective when you lose focus. This connection strengthens discipline. Sharing goals creates clarity. When you express your intentions out loud, they become more real. You move from vague ideas to clear commitments. You define what you want to improve. You explain why it matters. This process deepens your understanding. Speaking your goals transforms them into promises. A promise carries weight. When someone else knows your commitment, you feel responsible for following through. This responsibility encourages consistency. It becomes harder to abandon your goals when someone expects progress. Accountability strengthens determination without pressure. Choose supportive people carefully. Not everyone will understand your goals. Some individuals may dismiss your efforts. Others may encourage old habits. Surround yourself with people who respect discipline. These individuals value growth. They understand the importance of improvement. Their presence supports your direction. Supportive people do not need to offer constant advice. Sometimes their role is simply to listen. Sharing challenges reduces mental burden. You gain clarity by explaining your struggles. This conversation often reveals solutions. A calm discussion can strengthen your resolve. Accountability also encourages honesty. When you report progress to someone else, you become more aware of your actions. You reflect before speaking. You evaluate your behavior. This reflection promotes growth. You begin to track your efforts naturally. A simple approach works best. Choose 1 or 2 people you trust. Share your goal clearly. Explain what you are trying to change. Ask them to check in occasionally. This creates a supportive structure. The process does not need to be complicated. Accountability works well when expectations are realistic. Avoid setting goals that are too ambitious. Focus on consistent progress. Share small victories. Share challenges openly. This balanced approach builds trust. Supportive people can also offer encouragement during setbacks. Everyone experiences moments of difficulty. When you struggle alone, discouragement can grow quickly. A supportive voice provides perspective. They remind you that progress is still possible. This encouragement helps you continue forward. Accountability strengthens commitment. When you know someone will ask about your progress, you become more mindful of your actions. This awareness reduces impulsive decisions. You begin to think about your goals throughout the day. Sharing goals also creates positive influence. When you speak about growth, others may feel inspired. Your commitment encourages them to improve. This shared energy strengthens discipline. Growth becomes a collective effort. Trust is essential in accountability. Choose people who respect your journey. Avoid individuals who judge harshly. Constructive feedback helps improvement. Negative criticism weakens confidence. A supportive environment promotes growth. Accountability also builds resilience. When challenges arise, you can discuss strategies with supportive people. They may offer new ideas. They may share their experiences. This exchange strengthens your approach. Consistency is key. Regular check-ins maintain focus. These conversations do not need to be long. A brief update is enough. Share progress. Share obstacles. Plan next steps. This routine keeps your goals active. Accountability encourages responsibility without pressure. You remain in control of your decisions. Supportive people guide your focus. This balance strengthens discipline. Sharing goals also reduces isolation. Growth becomes less overwhelming when shared. You realize that others face similar challenges. This understanding builds confidence. You feel supported rather than alone. Accountability strengthens self-awareness. When you explain your actions, you reflect more deeply. You recognize patterns. You adjust your approach. This process accelerates improvement. Encourage honesty in these conversations. Share both success and difficulty. Authentic communication builds trust. Trust strengthens accountability. Accountability partners can also celebrate progress with you. Recognizing improvement reinforces discipline. This positive reinforcement encourages consistency. Avoid relying on too many people. Too many opinions can create confusion. Choose a small group. Maintain clarity. Focus on consistent support. Accountability works best when combined with personal responsibility. Supportive people guide you, but you remain responsible for your actions. This balance ensures growth. Sharing goals also strengthens motivation. When others believe in your progress, confidence grows. Their encouragement reinforces your commitment. Accountability builds discipline gradually. Each check-in strengthens consistency. Each conversation encourages reflection. Over time, this process becomes natural. Supportive relationships create a positive environment. Growth becomes part of your daily life. You discuss progress openly. You encourage each other. This shared commitment strengthens discipline. Choose people who challenge you respectfully. Constructive feedback promotes improvement. Honest conversations build strength. Accountability also helps during moments of doubt. When you question your progress, supportive people remind you of your effort. Their perspective strengthens confidence. Sharing goals transforms intentions into commitments. Commitments create responsibility. Responsibility strengthens discipline. Growth becomes easier when supported by others. You gain encouragement. You gain clarity. You gain resilience. This support accelerates improvement. Accountability is not about perfection. It is about consistency. Supportive people help you stay focused. They remind you of your direction. Over time, accountability becomes part of your identity. You value honest communication. You seek growth. You encourage others. This mindset strengthens discipline. Your journey improves when shared with supportive people. Their presence reinforces your commitment. Their encouragement strengthens your resolve. Commit to accountability. Share your goals clearly. Choose supportive individuals. Maintain regular communication. Reflect on progress. Adjust your approach. Continue forward with confidence. This simple practice builds discipline gradually. Supportive relationships strengthen your path. Accountability transforms intentions into consistent action. Over time, your commitment deepens. Your progress becomes steady. Your habits improve. Your life moves forward with purpose and clarity. Chapter 70: Strengthen mindset through daily reflection and intentional decision-making. A strong mind does not appear by accident. It is built through daily reflection and deliberate choice. Many people believe their life is shaped by events alone, but that is only partly true. Life is shaped by the meaning you give those events and by the decisions you make in response. Two people can face the same pressure and live very different outcomes because one reacts blindly while the other reflects, learns, and chooses with care. That is where true strength begins. Reflection is not a luxury for quiet moments. It is a necessary discipline. Without it, the day passes in fragments. You move from task to task, from emotion to emotion, from impulse to impulse, and by nightfall you are left with little understanding of how your choices formed your reality. Reflection gathers those scattered pieces. It gives shape to experience. It asks you to look at what happened without hiding from it. It helps you notice what helped you and what harmed you. It turns ordinary moments into lessons. A person who reflects daily becomes harder to mislead. The mind learns to observe before it obeys. Instead of rushing into reaction, it pauses. Instead of following every feeling, it asks whether the feeling deserves action. This pause is powerful. In that small space between impulse and response, freedom grows. A strong mindset is not one that never feels pressure. It is one that knows how to think clearly under pressure. Begin by asking yourself simple questions at the end of the day. What did I do well today? Where did I lose focus? What thought weakened my discipline? What moment showed strength? What decision would I repeat? What decision would I change? These questions do not need to be dramatic. Their value comes from honesty. The goal is not to write a perfect account of the day. The goal is to see yourself clearly enough to improve. Reflection also helps you understand your inner language. The way you speak to yourself matters. Some people speak in defeat before they even begin. They tell themselves they are too weak, too late, too scattered, too inconsistent. That kind of thinking becomes a heavy chain. It drains effort before action starts. A healthier mindset begins when you refuse to speak that way. You do not need to flatter yourself. You only need to be fair. Say what is true without cruelty. Say what needs improvement without giving up your dignity. Intentional decision-making is the natural partner of reflection. Reflection shows you what is true. Decision-making determines what you will do about it. A person with a strong mindset does not live by impulse. They live by chosen values. They know what matters and decide accordingly. This does not mean every choice is easy. It means every choice is guided by purpose. Each day gives you small opportunities to practice this skill. When the alarm sounds, you decide whether to rise or delay. When a distraction appears, you decide whether to give it your attention. When frustration enters the room, you decide whether to speak with control or with anger. When temptation offers comfort, you decide whether to protect your future or surrender to the moment. These decisions may seem ordinary, but they shape character. A weak mindset often waits for feeling before action. It says, I will begin when I feel ready. I will focus when I feel motivated. I will change when the mood is right. This way of thinking gives power to emotion instead of reason. A stronger mindset understands that action can lead emotion. You may not feel ready at first, but once you act with purpose, your mind begins to follow. Discipline often creates the feeling that people wait for. Daily reflection makes these decisions more intelligent. When you review your day, you begin to see your patterns. You notice when your energy is strongest. You notice what distracts you most. You notice which choices leave you proud and which leave you unsettled. This knowledge improves future decisions. You stop guessing. You start responding with greater precision. One useful habit is to end the day by reviewing your highest value. Ask yourself what mattered most today and whether your actions honored it. If health matters, did your choices support it? If focus matters, did you guard your attention? If honesty matters, did you speak truthfully? If peace matters, did you avoid unnecessary conflict? This kind of reflection keeps your life aligned with your principles. Intentional decision-making also requires you to slow down when possible. Many poor choices happen because people move too quickly. They answer before thinking. They react before observing. They agree before considering the cost. A calm mind can pause long enough to choose well. This pause is not weakness. It is control. When the mind is clear, decisions become easier. That is why reflection should not be rushed. A few quiet minutes can sharpen the whole direction of your life. Sit with your thoughts. Remove noise. Look honestly at your behavior. Ask what kind of person your actions are creating. Then decide whether that direction deserves your loyalty. A strong mindset is built through repeated agreement with what is right. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you train your mind. Every time you choose truth over excuse, you strengthen your inner structure. Every time you choose patience over reaction, you become steadier. These choices may not feel grand in the moment, but they shape the foundation of your character. Do not wait for perfect certainty before deciding. Certainty often comes after action, not before it. Many worthwhile decisions carry some discomfort. That discomfort does not mean the choice is wrong. It means growth is involved. A person who wants a stronger mind must learn to move forward without demanding complete emotional comfort. It also helps to reflect on the thoughts that return often. Repeated thoughts can shape repeated behavior. If you notice constant worry, constant resentment, or constant self-doubt, do not ignore it. Question it. Challenge it. Replace it with a more truthful thought. A mind that is never examined can become a place where harmful ideas live without resistance. Reflection clears that space. Decision-making becomes stronger when connected to values rather than mood. Ask what kind of person you want to be when no one is watching. Ask what choices would make you respect yourself more tomorrow. Ask what action would support long-term peace instead of short-term relief. These questions keep your decisions honest and grounded. A person who reflects daily learns that strength is not built by grand moments alone. It is built by small choices repeated with care. One thoughtful decision may redirect an entire evening. One honest reflection may prevent the same mistake from happening again. One calm response may protect your relationships. Over time, these moments become part of your identity. The mind becomes stronger when it is trained to examine rather than escape. Reflection teaches this skill. Decision-making proves it in action. Together they form a pattern of maturity. You stop living as a passenger in your own life. You begin to lead yourself with discipline and awareness. There will still be difficult days. There will still be moments when your emotions feel louder than your reason. That is normal. The purpose of reflection is not to remove all struggle. The purpose is to meet struggle with a steadier mind. A disciplined person does not avoid every storm. They learn how to think clearly inside it. At the end of each day, return to the truth. Review what happened. Learn what it revealed. Decide how you will respond tomorrow. This simple practice sharpens the mind and strengthens the will. It teaches you to live with purpose instead of drift. It helps you choose better because you understand yourself better. In time, daily reflection becomes a quiet source of power. Intentional decisions become easier. Emotional noise loses some of its influence. Bad habits lose their grip because you no longer live blindly. You see more. You choose more carefully. You act with greater direction. That is how a strong mindset takes shape. Not by chance, not by wishful thinking, by steady reflection and deliberate choice every single day. Chapter 80. Design structured routines that replace impulsive choices automatically. A life shaped by impulse is a life exposed to constant weakness. The moment-by-moment choice becomes too heavy when every decision must be made from scratch. That is why structured routines matter so much. They remove unnecessary debate from the day. They give your mind a path to follow before temptation has time to speak. A good routine does not make you robotic. It makes you dependable. It gives your actions a steady form so that your better choices can happen with less struggle. Many people lose control because they rely on mood. When they feel energized, they act well. When they feel tired, they drift. When they feel inspired, they move. When they feel stressed, they collapse into whatever is easiest. This creates a shaky life. A structured routine offers something stronger. It gives shape to your hours. It tells your mind what comes next. It turns discipline into something familiar instead of something heroic. Over time, that familiarity becomes power. A routine is not just a list of tasks. It is a pattern that protects your attention. It keeps your day from being ruled by impulse. When the first hour of the morning is clear, the rest of the day often becomes easier. When work begins in a predictable way, distraction has less room to grow. When your evening has a set order, the mind settles sooner. Structure reduces friction. It helps you act before indecision can spread. Think about how many bad choices happen because there is no plan in place. You wake up and reach for the phone because there is nothing better waiting. You wander through the morning because no clear start has been prepared. You eat without thought because your meals are not organized. You delay important work because your next step is not obvious. In these moments, impulse fills the gap left by structure. If you want better results, build the routine before the weak moment arrives. A useful routine begins with simple anchors. These are fixed actions that happen around the same time each day. Wake up at a steady hour, make your bed, wash your face, drink water, sit down and review your priorities. Begin the first important task before the mind drifts. These actions may feel ordinary, but their power lies in repetition. They tell your mind that the day has a direction. They reduce the chance of starting in chaos. The best routines are practical enough to repeat without resentment. If a routine is too complicated, it will not last. Design it to fit your real life. Keep the morning sequence short and clear. Keep the work sequence focused and realistic. Keep the evening sequence calm and restorative. The point is not to build a perfect schedule. The point is to build a reliable one. Reliability is what weakens impulsive behavior. Structure also protects you from emotional decision-making. When you are tired, angry, or distracted, your judgment is weaker. In those moments, routines carry you forward. They take over when willpower is low. This is why planning matters so much. A person who has already decided what to do does not need to negotiate with every passing feeling. The routine becomes the answer. A strong routine often includes a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning prepares the mind. The middle carries out the main work. The end closes the day with order. This pattern reduces mental clutter. You know when to start. You know what matters most. You know when to stop. That kind of clarity prevents impulsive detours. One of the greatest benefits of structure is that it saves energy. Every time you make a decision, you use mental effort. If too many choices pile up, your mind becomes tired. A routine removes many of those choices. You do not need to ask what comes next because the path is already set. This leaves more energy for the tasks that truly matter. Structured routines also help you respond to temptation. When a harmful impulse appears, the routine can interrupt it. If you normally waste time after lunch, schedule a walk, a short review, or a focused work block immediately after eating. If evenings are your weak point, create an order that keeps you occupied with better actions. Do not leave vulnerable moments empty. Fill them with useful steps before the old pattern returns. A routine becomes stronger when it is tied to purpose. You are not following structure just to be busy. You are shaping your day to protect what matters. Your health matters. Your time matters. Your peace matters. Your future matters. A routine becomes meaningful when you remember what it is defending. It is not only about discipline. It is about stewardship. Small routines often create the biggest change. A 5-minute reset at the end of the day can prevent a messy morning. A planned first hour can shape your entire workday. A short review before sleep can keep your thoughts clear. These quiet habits may not look impressive, but they create order where chaos once lived. Impulse often thrives in disorganization. When your day has no rhythm, the mind looks for stimulation. It grabs whatever is immediate. It follows the strongest feeling in the room. A structured routine gives the mind fewer reasons to wander. It creates flow. It reduces decision fatigue. It strengthens the quiet discipline needed to keep moving in the right direction. The more your routine repeats, the more automatic it becomes. That is the goal. Not because you want to think less, but because you want to waste less energy deciding what should already be decided. Automatic does not mean mindless. It means prepared. Your better choices become easier because they are built into the shape of the day. There will still be interruptions. Life does not always obey a perfect schedule, but a strong routine makes you more stable when the unexpected happens. You recover faster. You return to your path more easily. You do not lose yourself as quickly because you already have a pattern to return to. Structure gives you resilience. If you want to design a better routine, begin with your weakest time of day. Identify when impulse usually wins. Then place structure there first. Protect that hour with a clear sequence. Prepare before the weakness arrives. A routine is most useful when it stands guard over the places where you have struggled most. Do not wait to feel ready before building structure. Structure creates readiness. A calm sequence of actions can produce the right mood more effectively than mood can produce action. This is a truth many people learn too late. The body can guide the mind just as much as the mind guides the body. When your actions are ordered, your thoughts often follow. A routine also supports identity. Each repeated action says something about who you are becoming. Waking up with discipline says you respect your time. Starting work on time says you value your growth. Ending the day with reflection says you care about improvement. These repeated patterns shape character. They create a life that is less reactive and more intentional. Keep your structure simple enough to survive difficult days. A good routine should still work when energy is low. It should still hold when motivation is weak. It should still guide you when the day feels heavy. This is why simplicity matters. A routine that depends on perfect conditions will fail. A routine built for real life will endure. The aim is not to eliminate all spontaneity. The aim is to prevent harmful spontaneity from running your life. There is a difference between healthy freedom and careless impulse. Structure gives you room to enjoy life without being ruled by every urge. It creates space for better decisions to appear naturally. Over time, your structured routine becomes a quiet form of strength. It protects your morning. It supports your morning. It steadies your evening. It reduces the space where bad habits grow. It gives your life a rhythm that supports discipline without constant struggle. What once required intense effort begins to happen with greater ease because your environment, your habits, and your timing all work together. That is the power of structure. It replaces chaos with order. It replaces impulse with intention. It replaces scattered effort with steady progress. And when your routines are shaped well, your better choices stop feeling forced. They begin to feel like the natural way you live. Chapter 9. Reward positive behavior immediately to reinforce lasting habit change. Positive change thrives when it is recognized and reinforced immediately. Many people work hard to improve their habits, yet they overlook a simple truth: the mind responds strongly to reward. When an action is followed by recognition, even a small one, it gains significance. This reinforcement encourages repetition. Habits do not form through effort alone. They form through repetition paired with meaning. Each moment of achievement signals the brain that the action is valuable. The faster that signal follows the behavior, the stronger the connection becomes. Immediate reward creates a mental link that strengthens new routines. Reward does not mean indulgence. It does not require extravagance or distraction. The most effective reinforcement is meaningful yet aligned with your goals. Completing a task can be celebrated with a brief acknowledgement, a moment of satisfaction, or a small action that honors your effort. This creates a pattern where positive behavior is remembered and repeated. Recognition of progress validates the work done and strengthens resolve. A key principle is timing. Immediate reward strengthens habit formation far more than delayed acknowledgement. Waiting until the end of the week or month diminishes impact. The brain associates actions with outcomes most effectively when the response is quick. Celebrate each small win as it happens. Notice when you made a deliberate choice, acted with discipline, or avoided temptation. Give yourself credit in that moment. Even subtle rewards are powerful. A quiet nod to yourself, a brief journal note about success, or a mindful acknowledgement of effort engages the brain's reinforcement pathways. This practice transforms ordinary behavior into intentional progress. Positive reinforcement does not compete with humility. It simply recognizes the truth: action matters, and progress deserves acknowledgement. Reward also strengthens motivation. Without it, improvement can feel mechanical or joyless. Repetition without recognition drains energy. When you pause to honor what you accomplished, your mind associates effort with satisfaction. Motivation shifts from external circumstances to internal consistency. Over time, the brain begins to anticipate the satisfaction that follows disciplined action, making it easier to repeat the behavior consistently. Rewards should align with values and long-term goals. Avoid celebrating in ways that undermine progress. Do not reinforce habits with actions that counteract your growth. Instead, pair reward with reinforcement that supports your direction. Completing a focused work session could be followed by a brief walk or a mindful pause, rather than a distraction that weakens discipline. These small, intentional acknowledgements create balance between effort and reward. Tracking achievements can enhance reinforcement. Writing down completed tasks or noting moments of self-control magnifies the effect of reward. Seeing tangible evidence of progress strengthens commitment and provides reference points for continued growth. A list of accomplishments serves as a reminder that effort is producing results. The mind interprets visible proof as reason to continue positive behavior. Rewarding behavior also strengthens confidence. Many people doubt their ability to sustain change. Small celebrations provide constant feedback that you are capable. Every recognition of success challenges doubt and reinforces belief in your capacity to grow. Confidence built through repeated acknowledgement fuels further action. The brain also responds to emotional satisfaction. When you pause to feel pride in your effort, the emotional experience becomes a signal to repeat the behavior. This is different from fleeting pleasure. It is the emotional connection between effort and outcome. Recognizing the value of your work internally strengthens mental resilience and encourages consistency even when external praise is absent. Reward can also be social. Sharing achievements with supportive people amplifies the effect. Accountability partners or friends who recognize progress enhance reinforcement. The combination of personal acknowledgement and external recognition builds a stronger habit loop. Positive actions become more ingrained when reinforced both internally and externally. Small habits form stronger connections when immediately reinforced. Begin with micro actions and acknowledge them consistently. Completing a single focused task, resisting a minor temptation, or maintaining consistency for a short period deserves recognition. These micro rewards accumulate, creating a powerful chain of reinforcement. Immediate reward combats discouragement. When progress seems slow, recognition of small wins provides tangible proof of movement. This prevents demotivation and keeps effort consistent. Each acknowledgement functions as a milestone, reminding you that change is occurring even in subtle ways. Behavioral science supports this practice. Reinforcement shapes neural pathways. Repeating a positive action strengthens the connections in the brain that control habit formation. Immediate reward enhances these pathways, making the new behavior easier to access in the future. Over time, repeated reinforcement turns deliberate actions into automatic responses. Rewarding yourself also reinforces attention to quality. When you know recognition follows, you become more mindful during the task. Focus improves because you anticipate the acknowledgement. Your brain begins associating both effort and quality with positive outcomes. The process creates a feedback loop where excellence and consistency are rewarded simultaneously. Even reflection can act as a reward. Reviewing your day and noting moments of self-discipline strengthens habits. Recognizing when you resisted impulse or made a deliberate choice provides the mental reinforcement needed to continue improvement. Reflection magnifies reward by connecting action to insight. Rewarding progress does not require perfection. Celebrate the effort even if results are incomplete. A consistent habit of acknowledgement reinforces the intention behind actions rather than only outcomes. The mind begins to value effort as much as result, making it easier to persist through challenges and setbacks. The choice of reward matters. It should be immediate, meaningful, and constructive. Rewards that align with your goals deepen habit formation. Actions that distract or weaken progress dilute reinforcement. Align reward with growth to maximize impact. Immediate recognition strengthens self-discipline. When every positive action is acknowledged, the mind begins to anticipate reward naturally. This anticipation encourages repetition. Over time, recognition becomes internalized. You no longer need external reward to act consistently. The habit itself produces satisfaction. Reinforcement also encourages resilience. When challenges arise, recalling past recognition strengthens confidence and perseverance. Each reward becomes a reminder of capability. It creates a mental library of successful choices that can be drawn upon during difficult moments. Rewarding behavior daily transforms how you experience change. Discipline becomes less a chore and more a positive feedback loop. Every moment of self-control, every intentional choice, every completed task carries immediate significance. Recognition creates momentum, strengthens confidence, and reinforces identity. Over time, this practice ensures that habits do not fade. The mind associates repeated action with consistent acknowledgement. What once required conscious effort becomes natural. Positive behavior is no longer a struggle but a reinforced part of daily life. Acknowledgement also shapes mindset. When the brain learns that deliberate effort is valuable, self-perception shifts. You begin to see yourself as capable, consistent, and disciplined. Identity reinforces action. Habits are no longer isolated behaviors but reflections of who you are becoming. Immediate reward bridges the gap between effort and long-term results. Small recognitions compound into major change. Every step forward is reinforced. Every decision to act with intention is validated. Gradually, the behavior solidifies and the new habit outgrows the old pattern. To reinforce lasting habit change, observe every moment of progress and reward it immediately. Honor effort. Connect satisfaction to action. Align acknowledgement with values. Recognize consistently. Repeat faithfully. Over time, these small reinforcements build unshakable discipline and permanent transformation. Chapter Hundhei. Persist through setbacks and recommit to growth every morning. Setbacks are an inevitable part of growth. Every journey toward improvement encounters obstacles, unexpected challenges, and moments of failure. Those who succeed do not avoid setbacks. They respond to them. Persistence is not the absence of difficulty, it is the deliberate choice to continue despite difficulty. Each morning presents a new opportunity to recommit to growth, to rise again with clarity and determination, and to continue shaping habits that serve your long-term success. A resilient mindset understands that failure is not final, it is feedback. Every setback carries a lesson. When a habit falters, examine the cause without judgment. Identify what triggered the lapse and what can be adjusted. Reflection transforms disappointment into insight. Avoid self-punishment because it drains energy and clouds judgment. Instead, focus on what is within your control and plan the next action carefully. Growth emerges when setbacks are analyzed and integrated into the plan rather than ignored or denied. Morning recommitment is a powerful tool. Each sunrise allows you to reset. No matter what occurred yesterday, today is an untouched opportunity. Starting the day with intentionality reinforces discipline. Establish a morning routine that centers your focus on your values and priorities. This is not about a rigid schedule. It is about grounding your mindset in resilience. Recommitment each morning signals to your mind that yesterday's failures do not define your trajectory. Persistence thrives on consistency, not perfection. Small steps repeated every day create unstoppable momentum. Missing one action does not erase the pattern of effort. Missing one morning does not erase the trajectory of growth. What matters is the decision to continue. A single setback is not the end of progress. Resilience is measured by your ability to return to action, not by never faltering. Developing this mindset requires internal reinforcement. Remind yourself that discipline grows stronger with repeated recommitment. Write down your intentions each morning. State them clearly. Visualize the behaviors you wish to sustain. This mental rehearsal prepares you to face the day deliberately, reducing the likelihood of succumbing to impulsive or destructive patterns. Setbacks often reveal weak points in your routines. Use these moments as diagnostic tools. Determine which situations make you vulnerable and adjust your environment or strategy accordingly. Each obstacle exposes a potential improvement. Instead of feeling defeated, view each challenge as a map of where intentional change is needed. Persistence is supported by adaptability and awareness. Self-compassion strengthens endurance. Growth is not a linear path. Harsh self-criticism after a lapse undermines resilience. Treat yourself as a partner in improvement, not as an enemy. Recognize the effort you have made and the knowledge you have gained, even if the outcome was imperfect. Persistence is sustained when effort is honored rather than punished. Morning recommitment also benefits from reflection on long-term goals. Keep your priorities visible. Review your progress over weeks and months to understand the trajectory of growth. Even small improvements accumulate into significant transformation. By linking each day to a broader purpose, setbacks feel temporary and manageable rather than overwhelming. Each morning becomes a renewed opportunity to align with your highest intentions. Accountability enhances persistence. Share your commitment with supportive people who encourage progress without judgment. External reinforcement provides motivation when internal energy is low. A network of accountability reinforces your morning recommitment and reminds you of your capacity to persist, even in difficult circumstances. Persistence is strengthened by breaking larger goals into smaller, actionable steps. When a setback occurs, focus on completing the next achievable task rather than attempting to fix everything at once. This approach prevents overwhelm and encourages steady forward movement. Momentum builds through repeated action, even in modest increments. Every step, no matter how small, reinforces growth. Anticipate obstacles before they appear. Each morning, visualize potential challenges and pre-decide responses. Preparing your strategy in advance reduces the power of setbacks when they occur. Proactive planning allows you to move through difficulties with clarity rather than reaction, turning obstacles into structured opportunities for improvement. Resilience is also reinforced by maintaining perspective. A single lapse or day of poor performance does not define your identity. Recognize the cumulative strength of consistent effort over time. Setbacks are temporary, while the habits built through persistence accumulate. Viewing challenges in the context of long-term growth prevents discouragement and sustains momentum. Physical and mental preparedness supports perseverance. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and focused work strengthen the capacity to withstand setbacks. A well-maintained body and mind can absorb stress and recover faster. Morning recommitment becomes more effective when your energy and attention are supported through these foundational practices. Celebrate small victories even after setbacks. Acknowledging moments of discipline reinforces the behavior that remains strong. Gratitude for incremental progress fosters motivation. Each acknowledgement reminds you that growth continues despite difficulties. Reinforcing success, no matter how modest, builds confidence and sustains persistence. Mindset is strengthened by viewing persistence as an identity rather than a temporary effort. You become the kind of person who recovers from setbacks and recommits consistently. Each morning, this identity is reinforced through reflection, intentional planning, and action. Over time, resilience becomes habitual, integrated into your character rather than dependent on external circumstances. Challenges often test commitment to long-term goals. Responding with immediate action instead of resignation strengthens self-trust. Each choice to rise after a setback signals to yourself that you are capable of maintaining discipline. This repeated pattern solidifies confidence and reinforces your ability to sustain growth. Morning recommitment does not need to be complex. A short reflection, a brief review of priorities, and a conscious decision to act in alignment with your values can reset your trajectory. Simple rituals repeated daily are powerful enough to overcome past failures. Consistency matters more than elaborate preparation. Persistence also requires recognizing patterns in setbacks. Analyze recurring challenges to prevent repeated mistakes. Adjust routines, refine strategies, and protect vulnerable moments. Each setback is informative, offering insight into what needs reinforcement. Over time, this approach reduces the frequency and intensity of obstacles. Your emotional response to setbacks influences future success. Choosing calm observation instead of frustration or despair strengthens resilience. Each morning, renew your commitment with a steady mind. Accept that obstacles are part of the process and reaffirm your intention to continue moving forward. Patience is essential. Significant transformation is rarely immediate. Persistence means staying engaged even when progress is gradual. Each day's recommitment accumulates into substantial change over time. Maintaining focus and action despite delayed results is the hallmark of true growth. Persistence and recommitment create a positive cycle. Daily reflection informs action, intentional choices reinforce habits, and repeated recovery from setbacks builds strength. Each morning, this cycle renews energy and focus, ensuring that temporary failures do not derail long-term progress. Commitment to growth every morning strengthens mental clarity and direction. By beginning each day with purpose, reviewing goals, planning deliberate actions, and acknowledging previous lessons, you build resilience. The process transforms challenges into opportunities, weaknesses into areas of attention, and setbacks into stepping stones. Through persistence, setbacks lose power. Recommitting each morning embeds discipline, reinforces identity, and maintains momentum. Small, consistent choices accumulate into lasting transformation. Life becomes guided not by impulse or failure, but by deliberate action, continuous reflection, and unwavering dedication to personal growth. The path to mastery is shaped by returning, day after day, to the decision to continue. Each morning is a chance to reaffirm values, act with intention, and move forward despite obstacles. Through persistence and daily recommitment, the habits that once broke your progress now become the foundation of lasting improvement and enduring self-mastery.